Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're totally flipping the script on some deeply held conventional beliefs. We're going to explore 4 incredibly actionable wisdom principles that will fundamentally shift your entire perspective on success, happiness, and honestly, just the choices you make every single day. Let's really look at the mechanics of your life through a fresh lens.
So let's just get right into it by confronting a pretty uncomfortable fact right out of the gate. We are constantly chasing the wrong things. We spend our whole lives mistakenly believing that wisdom is about accumulating facts, being a walking encyclopedia, or just generally knowing everything. But true wisdom? It's not a trivia contest. It's really about having the sheer courage to accept some very hard truths about ourselves and how the real world actually operates.
All right, let's kick things off with Principle 1. Reliability over raw intelligence.
Ever since we were in grade school, we've basically been taught that everyone wants to be exceptionally smart, right? We completely idolize geniuses. But if we step back and look at how the real world actually functions, we have to ask a much better question. Does the world actually reward raw intelligence, or does it reward predictability?
The contrast here is actually pretty stark. While the raw, brilliant genius often fails simply because they're inconsistent, a reliable person rarely fails. And why is that? Because predictability is literally the ultimate currency out there in the real world. People just want to know what to expect. They want to know they can count on you. You really don't have to be the smartest person in the room. You just have to be the person who consistently delivers exactly what they promise. That rock-steady reliability beats erratic genius every single time.
Moving right along to Principle 2, the hidden price of desire.
We really need to talk about our modern obsession with the finish line. We all have these incredibly clear goals: a better job, a fitter body, a huge bank account. We love wanting that shiny end result, but we almost never stop to acknowledge the hidden invoice attached to those specific outcomes. Nothing in life is free, so we constantly have to ask ourselves, what is the actual hidden price tag of your desire?
Think about it like this. Every single desire comes with an unavoidable tax. You want a six-pack? Well, that demands the grueling daily price of discipline. Seeking wealth? That requires stomaching an immense amount of uncertainty and risk. And earning respect? That's always going to cost you the heavy burden of responsibility. You just cannot purchase the desire without paying that hidden price up front.
So this totally redefines our core concept of wisdom. True wisdom is not just about knowing what you want out of life. Any kid can point to a toy they want in a store. True wisdom is strictly about looking at that hidden invoice and knowing if you are genuinely willing to pay the specific price that comes with it. Because if you aren't willing to pay the price, it's not actually a goal, it's just a fantasy.
Okay, let's dive into Principle 3. Delays hurt worse than mistakes.
How many times have you completely frozen up because you were terrified of making the wrong choice? So many of us do this. We overthink, we analyze, we write out these massive pros and cons lists. Which naturally brings up the question, is our intense fear of making a mistake actually causing us to paralyze ourselves entirely? Are we so afraid of a misstep that we aren't even stepping at all?
Here is something really fascinating about human psychology. When people look back at the end of their lives, they almost never regret a bad decision. A bad decision is just a learning experience, right? You pivot, you adjust, and you move on. But what they deeply, painfully regret is losing years and years to hesitation, fear, and overthinking. Waiting too long is the true source of regret.
Ultimately, choosing to delay your decisions means you're almost certainly going to face life's most common echoing regret. It's a really simple phrase, but a remarkably heavy one. I should have started earlier. Seriously, don't let your fear of a temporary mistake trick you into the permanent regret of a delay. Just make the choice, take the action, and course correct as you go.
Which brings us to Principle 4. Your avoided self controls you.
This is perhaps the most revealing concept we are covering today. We have to confront a deeply uncomfortable reality and ask ourselves, how much of your life, your daily habits, and your grand trajectory is being actively steered by the very person you are most afraid of becoming? Put simply, who are you running from?
Let's break down exactly how this plays out in everyday life. If your absolute deepest fear is looking weak, you are going to spend your entire life playing it safe, and you'll never take the necessary risks required to actually grow. If you harbor a deep fear of rejection, you'll never make the approach, whether that's asking for a date, a promotion, or closing a sale. And if you fundamentally dread failure, your absolute biggest goals are going to remain completely untouched forever.
The harsh truth of the matter is this: the persona you are sprinting away from is actually the one sitting right there in the driver's seat. It's quietly, invisibly controlling all of your major life choices. By constantly avoiding the possibility of looking weak, getting rejected, or feeling like a failure, you are literally letting those exact fears dictate the boundaries of your entire existence.
Finally, let's talk about accepting the uncomfortable truths.
I want to wrap up this explainer by leaving you with this final, really provocative thought. You actually don't need any more raw information to succeed. You don't need another life hack or another secret formula. What you actually need is the courage to finally accept the uncomfortable truths you've been avoiding this whole time. True wisdom is staring those hard truths right in the face. That reliability always trumps genius. That every single desire has a price. That delays cost so much more than mistakes. And that you have to stop running from your fears and then deciding to act anyway. So ask yourself right now, which of these truths have you been actively avoiding? And what exactly are you going to do about it today?